And with me today, Kirsty and Lily and Tia to talk about it. Kirsty, you've done the STEP programme, yeah?
No, I'm actually the coordinator.
That's what I like. How long have you been in charge of it?
So I've just run it for my first year. I helped run it just this last year was my first year on the STEP project.
Okay. How do you match people? And first of all, how do you select people?
So applications are currently open, and students, as you said, in their second or penultimate year, if they're studying at university or college on the Isle of Man or UK, can apply. And once I have all applications in, I also get applications from organisations on the Isle of Man, and we match according to their skill set and also what students are looking to gain from the project. And then we can match them successfully. Then they run for 8 weeks, the project.
Okay, so you've got to make sure that the right student goes to the right company.
Yes.
How do you do that?
So my background is in careers and in recruitment training, and I study so that look at their CVs. I speak to all the students, find out what skills they have, what they're looking for, what transferable skills they have, and again, talking to the organisations, look at what you're really looking to get from your projects, what skills you needed, and then it's just a case of matching and doing the best I can to get the best fit.
This is not just a talking shop, is it? This is not just showing up on a placement.
No,
So it's not kind of work experience at school.
No, it's not work experience. It's very project based. So organisations have to have a project that they need to complete, and it's a great for organisations. For example, if they don't have the resource to be able to complete projects, then they can apply for STEP. Certainly not work experience. I monitor what goes on. We have the organisations have to tell me what exactly they want to get from the project, what the outcomes are. Students go in knowing exactly what they're going to get from the project and what they're going to do.
And I would imagine this looks fairly good on somebody's CV.
Yes. Yeah, well, maybe you talk to the students about that, but I definitely think for students, gaining any type of work experience is great, transferable skills, and also as it's project-based as well, there's a lot that they can put on their CV, and in terms of gaining very valuable contacts as well with organisations on the Isle of Man.
Lily Kneale is here. Lily, where did you do your STEP?
I actually did mine with the Department for Enterprise. So I worked with Tim Cowsell and I did a project about the retail sector. So basically I had to investigate what stakeholders and the consumers think of the retail sector on the island. And then I basically compiled a report and said what was working and what wasn't. And then I made some suggestions on how they could improve and what should be changed. And it's super positive because I've seen recently the department have given out a grant which is quite similar to something I suggested. I don't know whether it's actually what I did suggest.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. And it is, like Kirsty said, it's you do get something out of it. You don't just go and do photocopying.
Where were you at university?
I'm at Edinburgh.
Okay, and what's your degree? What are you reading?
I study languages with tourism management. So the tourism management aspect is really close to the retail aspect of the project because it's about how to maintain a destination without ruining it. And that is basically what the retail project was, how we can improve it without ruining it for the independent retailers,
Right.
but also to keep it going and to attract people to the island as well.
Which school did you go to?
I went to Ramsey Grammar.
Okay, and you're doing tourism management. Is that something you want to go into?
Yeah, 100%. At the minute, I am applying for masters in tourism management and also for graduate schemes in tourism businesses.
It's a fine line, though, making sure you maintain a destination without, screwing the whole thing up for people. How do you do that?
It's difficult because you have to take into account the people on the island. So if you create a big even like the TT say, we have so many people coming over and that causes conflicts. It's about managing to maintain that so that the people living on the island still enjoy it, but the people paying to come over here enjoy it and not ruining the environment at the same time. It's difficult, but it can be done.
When did you do your project with SET? When were you there?
Last year, so okay. in summer this year.
And what did you find out about the retail sector that you didn't know?
It's quite surprising the makeup of Strand Street, even that it's the same people own multiple shops and stuff. It's quite interesting seeing the behind the scenes.
Do you mean people own the buildings or just own the businesses?
The businesses, lots of businesses have the same person behind them. I didn't realise that. And also the idea of who as well owns the buildings in terms of they wouldn't want Strand Street to close, so they want to keep the people in that business, but
Right.
also they might want to get rid of the buildings, that kind of thing. It's like the politics of
And also
retail.
the finance behind it, because in every high street, in everything to do with the retail, at the end of everything, Kirsty, people have got to make a return. The investors have to make a return. It has to work as a business, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's difficult as well. It's similar to tourism in that trying to maintain the balance. People want to shop online now. They don't want to wander through town. But also the people like running the shops in town are real people. It's their livelihoods.
It's interesting. We were talking about this the other day in the office. There are very few empty shops on Strand Street, aren't there?
Yeah.
Very few.
We have a really, really healthy high street.
Comparison to, I mean, in the UK, you walk around, it goes betting shop, charity shop, empty coffee shop, betting shop, pawnbrokers and what have you.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And the Isle of Man, all the high streets on the island are very healthy in comparison. And it's not to say there's not necessarily anything wrong with the island's high streets, but the most common complaint was that it wasn't modern enough and there isn't enough brands. But then if you bring the brands over, how does that affect the local shops that are providing that kind of thing? So it is difficult to combine the stuff, but it was surprising that the number of different aspects you have to take into account.
Did you come to any conclusion about multiples coming in versus independent shops?
So it's difficult to say, because the people say, oh, we want, Nando's, or we want like Primark or something, but at the same time they're saying, oh, the big shops are taking over and the little shops have no chance. But you've just told me you want the big shops. It's finding the balance. It's being able to accommodate them both in the same place. But the thing with the multiples is it makes the high street appear more modern, more in touch with the UK, and that means when people look into coming to live here, they're more likely to stay here. That's going to boost the economy. That's going to get more money in the retail sector. And it just builds up and up and up. So it's trying to find a balance, but I think multiples are important for the island.
Did you enjoy the project?
I loved it every second. If like, I didn't want to drop out of uni early, but if I could have kind of done it both at the same time and kept going, I would have loved to have done that.
Tia Welsh is with us as well. Tia, where was your STEP experience?
I was at the Visit Isle of Man agency, also in the Department for Enterprise, and my task was enhancing the Visit Isle of Man tourism website, so for consumers. And I also did get the task of doing the trade site, but unfortunately, with the time strains, I was only able to focus on the consumer. But
Yeah, why did you apply?
I think I'd heard it through family friends that had done it, and my dad also worked in the Department for Enterprise in a different department, and he said, oh, it would be really a good thing to do, because obviously he'd had STEP students come through his department.
Yeah. Were you worried at it? Was there anything that bothered you about going into it?
I think just working in an office environment, obviously, as a student, you don't have that experience. I'd only done a limited amount of work experience in offices from 16 years old. But yeah, I think it was just talking to adults.
What was the best bit about it?
I think being able to apply the skills I received in my degree.
What was your degree?
Creative writing.
Okay, and where did you study?
York St John University.
Oh, good. So, what skills did that job entail that you were doing in STEP?
It was a lot of writing. Obviously, I was promoting the Isle of Man through web content. I had to rewrite all the web pages on the Visit Isle of Man website.
Can I just say as well, writing creatively, or as we call it in the trade, writing copy, it's not simple, is it?
No, it's not.
Everybody thinks, oh, you just write something down. But you go to a website where there's rubbish writing and it sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't it?
Oh, it absolutely does. And you've got to think outside the box, as obviously promoting the Isle of Man. I did a lot of research comparing it to Jersey and Guernsey and every other seaside place in the UK. But I also applied my skills, my script writing skills, that I did in university, because I realised they had the tourism video, obviously that was promoted on TV and on the website, but I thought, why don't we add more videos on the website that can be shared on social media platforms? So I created scripts for those to be used in the future long term. And I was actually really pleased because this year, I think Visit Isle of Man have launched their part 2 of their hashtag IOM story campaign, and they have actually introduced more videos. So even though it wasn't necessarily the scripts that they used, it was good to see that my ideas had been considered and even implemented.
Kirsty, also, there's money in this as well, isn't there? There is an emolument, as they say.
There is, yes. So students do receive a training allowance of £256 per week. And for organisations, the hassle is taken out, so that's paid for by the government, and then they just invoice the organisations at the end of the step placement.
How do people apply for this?
They can just go on the website, so www.dfe.im//step, and there is application forms there for both the hosts and for students as well. And I think, as you can tell from just listening to Lily and Tia here, there's such a range of projects that can be undertaken. So organisations, we really encourage organisations to apply from public sector, private sector, third sector, and we have science organisations taking part, we had tourism, care-based, there's such a range. And again, for students, any degree discipline is welcomed for applications.
Okay. How long's STEP been going now?
I believe it's been going for over 20 years, and we've placed over 500. We've had over 500 placements. Last year we had 37 successful placements. And at the end, we run a great event, a final presentation event, where all students get to come and they submit a report, and they also present on the findings of their project, and the hosts all attend. And it's great from my point of view. You get to hear about all these fascinating projects that have gone on across the Isle of Man and how the students really have made a difference to these organisations that take part.
The organisations have got to put something into this, haven't they? They've got to. It almost is a good discipline for them. They've got to know what they need, and I think also getting a student's eyes and ears is something fresh, something by definition they're going to be young people who come in as well. So I mean, what sort of discipline for new organisations that come in? Do you have to sit down with them and say, look, you know, this isn't just a talking shop. We need. It's got to work for you, and it has to work for the students.
Yes, yeah. So every application we receive, we go through the application, and I contact the organisation, and we have that discussion about what exactly do you want to get from it, and so that they understand fully what the project involves, and like you say, that it is a set project rather than just work experience, and that they actually are going to gain something from it. But to be honest, the organisations year on year, the feedback we get is really great, and I think it just shows it in the fact that we have numerous organisations come back every year and put in applications, and sometimes even for more than one project, because they really do see the benefit of getting the young people in.
Okay, Lily, what does the Isle of Man need to do then in terms of tourism, do you think?
Oh, it's difficult to say. I think one of the biggest problems for tourism on the Isle of Man is seasonality. Like now, it's not great for tourism. People aren't coming. I imagine the hotels are nowhere near full.
Always was. I mean, the Isle of Man's only ever had a 13-week season.
Yeah.
And everybody had to make 3 weeks' money when, from Onken Head to Douglas Head was wall-to-wall hotels. Everybody had to take 3 weeks' money every week during the summer to live during the winter.
Yeah, and it's something that it can be changed now, because obviously the Isle of Man, it continues being a beach destination, but people aren't going to necessarily pay to come here to go to the beach for a few days when they could maybe get the train somewhere in the UK. So I think we could maybe change towards like an eco kind of destination. We're not particularly polluting here. You can see the stars and stuff. That, I think, maybe a change in direction.
Where are we like in the UK? I mean, are there any similar destinations in the UK? I
feel like in terms of the environment, we're quite close to Scotland. We're very similar to the not necessarily to the Highlands, because we're far more populated, but to areas in Scotland for sure. And then obviously the Channel Islands have the benefit of being so much warmer, and
close to France.
Exactly, but I think it's a mistake to compare too close, because we are so unique, and there's no point necessarily trying to copy a destination. Maybe take some ideas and see how Scotland maybe markets their natural beauty and stuff, but we're too unique to be comparable to anything, I think.
How do you think the island sells itself off the island?
I think it relies heavily on the TT, maybe too heavily. But I think as an area of outstanding beauty, you only have to look at the Visit Isle of Man's Instagram to see it's just chock-a-block full of sunsets and families and the greenery and people hiking. And that's great. I think that is the right image we want to
Tia's
convey.
nodding. What do you say, Tia?
Absolutely. Obviously, working in the visit agency and exploring the website, there was so much more to the island has to offer than just the TT. The TT is only, say, a small section of what else the island actually has, given its landscape, its culture, its history, and being able to promote that and showcase that to everyone was just incredible.
It's a crowded marketplace, though, Tia. How do you cut through to people who, most people in the UK have never heard of the Isle of Man? Most people mistake the Isle of Man for the Isle of Wight or what have you. How do you get that message through to people? They may see 20 messages a day for holiday destinations and short break destinations. How does the Isle of Man project its image?
I think it's with the story that the visit agency are using, the hashtag IOM story, linking with its, our rich history, again, going with the Vikings and just the culture that Ireland has to offer, and because obviously the story of man, it's just really enriching that.
Lily, I just want to ask you as well, do you think there's anything, because years ago the Isle of Man had iconic venues and structures that people used to come to. I mean, the ill-fated Summerland was one of them.
Yeah.
We have to talk about it. It was very big. It was the last hurrah for tourism at the end of the 1960s, when obviously times changed in Britain. The economic outlook changed when people could take the pound out of the country and cheap flights started.
Yeah, Benidorm took off.
Exactly, literally. And so the Isle of Man, and years ago, used to have enormous entertainment venues for people to come to. Now, we don't have any big entertainment venues, so even if we put an iconic concert on, it can't make its money financially, because we don't have a 4,000-seat venue on the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
We can't bring people here. What do you think? Is there a big idea that somebody's missing? Because if you have it, you'll be a millionaire.
I think going towards the route of attracting lots of people, such as for an event, isn't necessarily the right direction. I think moving towards targeting more affluent visitors would be the way. I'd love to, in the future, own like an eco resort or a hotel in a nice, like a Bahamas style thing, but in a field where you come and you do yoga and you just eat all Manx food which has grown while you're surrounded in your field, and attract people, like people that work in London, maybe they'll want to leave the UK but they're not going to go too far, but they want that holistic, really natural kind of holiday feel, and they're gonna be able to pay more for that. They're gonna have the funds to pay a bit extra for that luxury, but also to have the style of life which is so popular on Instagram and on all the social media at the minute. And I really believe that Isle of Man can create that, but it's a case of finding the person to create that.
Okay, Kirsty, what's the website again?
The website, www.dfe.im/step.
Say that slowly, please.
www.dfe.im/step. And the applications, as I say, they're open at the moment. They will close on the 24th of April, and the projects will be running from the 29th of June 2020 to the 21st of August, so 8 weeks.
If there's a company or somebody representative from a company who's never heard about this, what do they do?
Again, they can go on the website. There's all information there. You'll find on the website fact sheets for organisations and also contact details, so you can ping us an email or give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to answer any queries.
Oh, well, you've heard the bright young brains, and I don't say that lightly, bright young brains, because it's a new way of looking at stuff, and the STEP programme really can help a company, an organisation, and certainly students. Thanks for being with us today, Kirsty. Good to talk to you. Lily, all the best in your future. So are you doing a master's, or are you just settling with one degree?
I'm going to wait and see if I get onto a graduate programme, and if not, then it's a master's. We'll see.
Okay. Tia, thanks for being with us today. Where can we see your work, by the way? Where are your videos knocking around?
Well, all my writing got uploaded to got published on the website during my STEP project. So when you go on the Visit Isle of Man consumer website, it's all there. Every web page, there's blogs. So the writing you see is what I've written.
There we are. Tia, thank you. Thanks to Lily and thanks to Kirsty. The STEP programme from the Isle of Man.